HarperCollins presents Love and Other Paradoxes by Catriona Silvey. Read by Nicholas Ralph. Chapter 1. Joe stood in the hush of the Wren Library, looking up into the marble eyes of the poet. The poet was lounging on the ruins of an ancient Greek temple, foot drawn up to rest on a broken pillar. One elegant hand pointed a pencil to his chin, the other held a finished book of poems. The poet's handsome brow was furrowed, his eyes fixed on the middle distance. Joe found himself unconsciously mimicking the pose, raising one hand, setting his jaw, staring across the black and white tiles of the library floor. A girl, sitting in an alcove, looked up and met his eyes. Thinking he was looking at her, she smiled. He was about to smile back, then remembered he was supposed to be looking intense and poetic. He frowned, shifting his gaze to the stained-glass window. When he glanced surreptitiously at the girl, she had gone back to reading.
"Lord Byron," said someone behind him. "He was a student here, you know."
Joe flinched in surprise, then fell back into his usual apologetic slump. The speaker was one of the black uniformed men who were an everyday feature of Cambridge life. They were called things like porter, or proctor, or prelector, and seemed to appear from nowhere. He had a theory that they seeped spontaneously out of the marble whenever you stood still for too long. "I know," he replied. That was why he was here, to remind himself that Byron had once stood where he stood, which meant that achieving his own destiny as a great poet was not completely out of reach. Byron, of course, had not been looking up at a statue of himself, unless, alongside writing poetry and having sex with a lot of people, he had also invented time travel.
"Kept a bear in his room,"
said the black uniformed man.
"Legendary lover, of course,"
he added. Joe felt a laugh creep up inside him. The bear? The man was looking at him with a mixture of pity and disappointment.
"Are you a member of the college?"
He tensed, confronting the spectre of not belonging that had haunted him for the past 2 years. "No, I'm a student, just not at Trinity." The man patted him heavily on the shoulder.
"Then I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to leave."
Outside, the autumn sun glinted off the dew-damp grass. A chill October wind blew up from the river, cutting through his cheap coat. He hurried through the insane stage-set grandeur of the college, so different from the squat fishermen's cottages he had known for the first 18 years of his life. Now at the beginning of his 3rd year as a student, he had almost stopped noticing it. It only came clear to him at moments like this, when he confronted the reality that in 8 short months he would be graduating. He would be cast out like an orphan stumbling from Narnia back into wartime England, or in his case, rural Scotland, back to his job at the village pub, with no proof that his time here in the other world had been anything but a dream. Unless he could find a way to prove that he had always belonged here, among the history makers, that letting him in had not been a terrible, embarrassing mistake. As he left Trinity, through the vaulted archway of the Great Gate, he was so lost in thought that he walked straight into someone. "Sorry," he blurted, looking at the person he almost knocked over. A girl, pale-faced, with unusual light green eyes. She had swept her dark hair to one side in the way all the posh girls here did, as if they were in a strong wind no one else could feel. Something about her was familiar. He couldn't understand why until he saw what was printed on her hoodie. Macbeth, 2004. He had seen that show last year at the ADC Theatre. She had played Lady Macbeth. He remembered her being blazingly, shockingly good, outshining the other actors like candles to her sun. She raised an elegant eyebrow. He sensed the chance to say something, to change the future of this moment, but he couldn't think of anything clever enough. The girl threw him a disdainful look and walked on.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?